Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. Today we're looking at General Ferrous Rokiric. So General Ferrous Rokiric is a 3-mana Boros commander. He's a 3/1 with hexproof from monocolored, and whenever you cast a multicolored spell, so a Boros spell in this case, create a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token. So this is obviously going to be a beatdown deck where we're looking to cast as many multicolor spells as we can to keep triggering Ferrous and making these 4/4s, which should take over the board and be able to just beat our opponents down. So with that said, that means we're going to be stretching to play a lot of multicolor cards, so anything that's already good, and then anything that would maybe not be so good on its own, but when you tag a 4/4 token onto it becomes good. So going through some of our cards, we have our beatdown spells like Animpa Call, which generates tokens, Arbaz Mirror, which is basically impact tremors for historic permanents, although it does not count the golem tokens, unfortunately. Aurelia the Law Above, which is just a beater that can draw cards or burn stuff. Aurelia the War Leader for extra combat steps. Blade Historian, double strike everything. Duke Older Raven Guard to multiply our attackers. Legion's Initiative, which gives +1 on power to red creatures and +1 on toughness to white creatures, which means our golems become 5/5s. Nayali, Sun's Vanguard, which is attacking tokens you control have double strike, real good with General Ferrous over here. And whenever one or more tokens you control attack a player, exile the top of your library, and during any turn you attacked with a token, you may play it. And War Leader's Call, which is our multicolor impact tremors that is also an Anthem. We have Nahiri's Resolve to blink out creatures for value and artifacts as well, and then return them for, ETB triggers and whatnot. Thrilling Discovery to filter through cards. Commander Liara Portier, which is whenever you attack, spells you cast from exile this turn cost X less, where X is the number of players being attacked, and you exile the top X of your library, which you can cast. So basically, you get to impulse draw. Let's say you're in a pot of 4 players, you attack all 3 of your opponents, you impulse draw 3 cards, and all of those cards cost 3 less. Also got Showdown of the Scalds, more impulse drawing over here. Token doubling with Anointed Procession and Mondrak to multiply our golems. We also have Jolly Balloon Man for ETB related stuff. Some red counter magic. We also have, besides Aurelia, some additional extra turn stuff in Response Resurgence and Waves of Aggression. Alabu, which gives our artifact creatures haste, so our golems can immediately attack. And whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alabu deals X to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. Then we have some Boros lands here, nothing much to see, pretty straightforward. Although it is worth noting that while Urza's Saga goes into most decks, the fact that the Karnstructs benefit from all the golems that we're creating is even better. And we've got some protection. Obviously, we want to make sure that General Ferrous doesn't get killed or countered, although General Ferrous does inherently have hexproof from monocolored, which means he's immune to most removal spells, although not all. So there are some notable exceptions, like Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy, for example, so we do still need some ways of protecting him. Then we got a bunch of ramp. Got to get General Ferrous out as fast as possible. Then our removal. So we're stretching to play some removal that we normally wouldn't, but they're multicolor spells, so some genuinely good ones are things like Rip Apart and Wear Tear, and then we're also running Dwarger Hedge Mage, Justice Strike, Lightning Helix, Oleron's Searing Light, which is basically an Edict, and Flage. Then, since we are doing the beatdown route and we're in white, we can play all of the stacks cards. So while we can't run, Stony Silence because we've got a bunch of artifact ramp, we can run other stuff like Rule of Laws and Linvala and whatnot. So these are all great at slowing down our opponents and allowing us to just take over the game with 4/4 golems, and then a little bit of tutoring. Another card that I could have included in the deck is Bayek of Siwa, which also is another card that gives our historic creatures double strike. Ultimately opted not to run this, just needed the space, and I felt like we had enough beatdown already, but you could easily include this card in the deck too. And so with all that said, that is going to do it for General Ferrous Rokiric in EDH.